Welcome back to our channel History Coins HD. As you that old is gold, but these rare Lincoln wheat penny coin that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1 today, we're diving into a true piece of American history, a coin that's small in size but massive in both legacy and potential value. We're talking about the 1941 Lincoln wheat penny. You might be surprised at how much this little coin could actually be worth if you have the right one. Now, if you're new to coin collecting or just starting to get curious about that old jar of pennies sitting in your attic, the Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the wheat penny remained in circulation until 1958. But not all Lincoln cents are created equal. Some years and mint marks hold incredible value, and the 1941 D is one of those coins that has collectors everywhere searching high and low. Let's rewind the clock to 1941. America was still reeling from the Great Depression, and the threat of global war was on the horizon. It was a time of uncertainty, but also resilience. And while this humble penny was produced in large numbers at the Denver Mint that year, certain rare versions of the 1941 D have become the stuff of legend in the numismatic world. On the surface, the 1941 D Lincoln penny might seem like just another copper coin. It features the classic bust of Abraham Lincoln facing right, the word liberty to his left, and the phrase "In God We Trust" arched along the top. Below Lincoln's portrait is the year, 1941, and just beside it, if you look closely, you'll find the small letter D, indicating that it was struck at the Denver Mint. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the reverse design that gives the wheat penny its name, two wheat stalks curving inward from each side, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above it reads E pluribus unum, Latin for out of many, one. This design, simple and elegant, reflects a country striving for unity during a turbulent time. Now here's where things get interesting. While millions of these coins were minted, over 128 million, to be exact, not all 1941 D wheat pennies are worth a fortune. Most of them, even in decent circulated condition, might only fetch a few cents to a couple of dollars from collectors. But, and this is a big but, some extremely rare examples have unique characteristics that make them exceptionally valuable. We're talking about coins in nearly perfect condition, known as mint state or uncirculated. These coins have no wear, sharp details, and their original red luster is still shining like the day they were struck. But even beyond that, a select few 1941 D wheat pennies feature minor minting errors like a doubled die outburst, off-center strike, or irregular planchet flaws. These imperfections, caused by mistakes during the minting process, are exactly what collectors dream of. Error coins are fascinating because they tell a story of how even the most controlled processes can slip up, and when they do, the result can be worth a small fortune. One tiny detail, one subtle anomaly, and suddenly that coin in your hand is no longer common, it's rare, it's sought after, and it becomes a centerpiece in someone's prized collection. And let's not forget how important condition is. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, and the higher the grade, the higher the value. A 1941 D penny graded MS67 or higher by a professional grading service can command an incredible premium. Add in a unique mint error or flawless red toning, and now you're looking at the upper edge of the collector's market. So, how much can one of these special 1941 D Lincoln wheat pennies actually be worth? Well, hold on to your seat, because one of these rare, perfectly preserved coins has sold for as much as $130,000. That's right. A single penny, just 1 cent in face value, reaching 6 figures in value because of its rarity, its flawless condition, and its place in American history. So, next time you're sorting through that old change jar, take a closer look. You never know, you might be holding a hidden treasure worth more than a brand new car or even a house deposit. The 1941 D penny may look ordinary at first glance, but in the world of coin collecting, it's a shining star with a story to tell. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of America's most valuable pennies, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. We've got more rare coins, shocking prices, and collector secrets coming your way. Turn on notifications so you never miss a discovery. Until next time, happy hunting, and may your next coin be the one that changes everything. Top 2, we're spotlighting a true American classic, a coin that many people have probably handled without ever realizing its hidden potential. We're talking about the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny. This tiny copper coin might look ordinary, but in some rare cases, it's anything but. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, 1945? That's just another year for a common penny, right? Well, yes and no. Millions of these coins were minted and used in everyday life, tossed in pockets, lost in couch cushions, and forgotten in piggy banks. But what if I told you that some versions of this exact coin are worth more than most people's annual salary? Before we get to the jaw-dropping value of the rarest examples, let's take a moment to appreciate the story behind the 1945 Lincoln Wheat penny. This coin is more than just currency, it's a piece of American history. Picture this: World War II had just ended. The world was trying to heal, families were reuniting, and the United States was transitioning from war to peace. Amid this transformative moment in history, the U.S. Mint was striking millions of Lincoln cents, including the ones that would go on to become collectors' dreams. The Lincoln Wheat penny had already been in circulation since 1909, commemorating the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse side of the coin features Lincoln's profile, calm, stoic, and dignified. Above his head is the national motto, "In God We Trust." To the left, the word liberty, and to the right, the year, 1945. Flip the coin over, and you'll see what gives the wheat penny its name. Two stylized wheat stalks curve along the edges, enclosing the phrases 1 cent and United States of America. Tucked above them is E pluribus unum, a phrase that represents unity from diversity, an ideal that resonated deeply with the nation in the final days of the war. At first glance, the 1945 penny seems like just another copper coin, one of over a billion made that year. But here's where the story takes a surprising turn. Not all 1945 Lincoln Wheat pennies are the same. While most were struck in Philadelphia, others came from the Denver and San Francisco mints. But regardless of where they were made, condition and rarity are everything. See, coins that were circulated heavily, passed from hand to hand, jostled in pockets, and scratched by keys have little collector value. But when you find one that somehow survived all those years without a mark, in what's called mint state condition, that's when collectors start to take notice. Even more so when the coin shows its original red shine, what's known as red in grading terms, a result of the original copper surface remaining untarnished for decades. And then there are the true rarities, the outliers. These are the 1945 wheat pennies that come with something special, a minting error, a striking anomaly, or a unique variety that sets them apart from the rest. These could include off-center strikes, double dies, planchet errors, or other tiny but important deviations from the norm. To the average person, these might look like imperfections. But to a serious collector? They're gold figuratively. Of course, take, for instance, a 1945 Lincoln Wheat penny with a doubled die obverse. That means the die that struck the front of the coin had a slight misalignment, creating a doubling effect on the date or lettering. These kinds of errors are rare and, in the case of the 1945 penny, incredibly desirable. Another possibility is a coin struck on the wrong metal planchet, a manufacturing accident that makes the coin both mysterious and valuable. Now imagine combining one of those errors with an incredibly high grade, say, a coin that's been professionally rated MS67 or MS68 by a major grading service like PCGS or NGC. That's a recipe for a serious collector's prize. These coins don't just sit in albums, they end up in private collections, museums, or the auction block, sometimes commanding mind-blowing prices. It's amazing to think that a coin so small, so often overlooked, can carry so much history and potential value. It's not just metal, it's a story frozen in time. And if you're lucky enough to have one of these rare 1945 wheat pennies in near-perfect condition, especially with an error or variety, you might want to sit down for this next part, because one such coin has been known to sell for as much as $125,000, yes, you heard that right. A penny. A single cent worth $125,000 to the right collector. All because of its rarity, condition, and the story it tells. It's a reminder that treasures aren't always buried deep, they might just be hiding in your pocket change. So if you've got an old jar of coins lying around, it's time to start looking. That simple 1945 penny you once thought was worthless might just be a fortune in disguise. And if you enjoyed this journey into one of America's rarest coins, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss out on our next incredible discovery. Top 3. We're diving into a coin that many Americans have held in their hands without ever realizing its hidden value, the 1950 Lincoln Wheat penny. What looks like just another piece of copper could actually be a small, shiny ticket to something truly incredible. Now before we get to what this coin might be worth today, and trust me, the number will blow your mind, let's talk about the time it came from. The year was 1950. America was just getting used to peacetime after the end of World War II. Soldiers had returned home, suburbs were growing, television was becoming a household staple, and the country was entering a new era of hope and opportunity. And while all of this was happening, the U.S. Mint was still quietly pressing out Lincoln wheat pennies, just as it had been doing for over 4 decades. The 1950 D penny was minted in Denver, and you'll find a tiny D just under the date on the obverse side of the coin. That's how you know it was made at the Denver Mint. Over 334 million of them were produced, which might make you think this coin is nothing special. But as with all coins, the magic is in the details, and the right combination of condition, rarity, and error can turn an ordinary penny into an extraordinary one. Let's start with the design. The front of the 1950 D penny features the legendary image of President Abraham Lincoln. His calm, determined profile has been a constant on U.S. pennies since 1909. It's more than just a portrait, it's a symbol of unity, freedom, and resilience. Above Lincoln's head, we see "In God We Trust." To the left, liberty. And just beside his shoulder, the year 1950, with that crucial little D right below it. He flipped the coin over, and you'll find the iconic wheat ears that give the penny its nickname, the wheat penny. On the reverse side, the 2 stalks frame the bold lettering 1 cent and United States of America, with the Latin motto E pluribus unum curved along the top. It's a simple design, yet so deeply rooted in American history that collectors can't get enough of it. But here's the twist. Not all 1950 D wheat pennies are worth a fortune. In fact, most of them in circulated condition, the ones that have been passed around in showware, are only worth a few cents to a few dollars. But the real value lies in the rarest examples. We're talking about coins that were struck perfectly, preserved in pristine condition, and sometimes blessed with a unique minting error. And now, let's talk about errors. These are not mistakes to be discarded, they're jackpot clues. A doubled die, a clipped planchet, off-center strikes, or even coins accidentally struck on the wrong metal can transform a common coin into something collectors will fight over. These errors are rare, extremely rare, and that rarity is exactly what drives the value sky high. But even without an error, a 1950 D penny in perfect condition, that is, one that's never been circulated, that has retained its bright copper red color, and that grades high on the professional scale, can command serious attention. Grading services like PCGS or NGC assess coins on a 70-point scale, and when a coin reaches the top levels MS66, MS67, or even MS68, its value increases exponentially. Only a handful of 1950 D pennies have achieved those kinds of grades. And when they do show up at auction, the results are nothing short of stunning. These coins are treated as historical artifacts, and they often become centerpiece items in high-end collections. Collectors aren't just buying a coin, they're buying a piece of history, a symbol of an era, and a tangible asset that only grows more valuable with time. So how much can a 1950 D Lincoln wheat penny be worth if you have one of these rare, top-grade examples, or even better, one with a verified mint error? Well, if you've been wondering whether it's possible to turn a simple penny into a serious payday, the answer is absolutely yes. Because one extraordinary 1950 D wheat penny, in nearly flawless mint condition, has sold for as much as $115,000. That's right. A single penny, something you might have overlooked at the bottom of a drawer or under a car seat, could be worth more than a brand new luxury car, a college education, or even a small home. It's hard to believe, but it's true. This is why coin collecting is so thrilling, because hidden treasures really do exist. So the next time you're sorting through your pocket change, or digging through an old coin jar passed down from a grandparent, take a moment to check the dates and mint marks. That 1950 D wheat penny you almost tossed aside? It might just be the find of a lifetime. Top 4. We're going to talk about a coin that might just be sitting in your pocket change, your grandparents' coin jar, or tucked away in an old shoebox, completely overlooked. It's the 1953 D Lincoln wheat penny. At first glance, it might seem like just another old coin, but don't be fooled. Because in the right condition, and under the right circumstances, this coin could be worth a small fortune. Let's go back to 1953. It was a time of transition in America. The country had just elected Dwight D. Eisenhower as president, the Korean War was nearing its end, and the post-war boom was in full swing. Families were buying homes, cars, and televisions. It was the golden age of drive-in theaters, diners, and baseball cards. And while all this was going on, the United States Mint in Denver was quietly producing one of the most interesting coins of the decade, the 1953 D Lincoln wheat penny. This penny, like others in the series, was part of a design that dated back to 1909, created to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. It was the first time a real person, a U.S. president no less, had appeared on a regular issue American coin. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin's obverse shows the side profile of Lincoln, calm and reflective, facing to the right. Above him are the words, "In God We Trust." To the left is the word liberty, and to the right, the date 1953 with a small d underneath, signifying that it was minted in Denver. Turn the coin over, and you'll see the classic reverse design that gives this coin its nickname, the wheat penny. Two curved wheat stalks border the phrases 1 cent and United States of America. Above that is the Latin motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. This design is so simple, so familiar, yet so deeply woven into the fabric of America's mid-century identity. Now here's where things get exciting. Over 700 million 1953 D wheat pennies were struck, yes, that's right, hundreds of millions. So it's fair to wonder, how can a coin that's so common be worth anything more than a penny? Well, the truth is, most 1953 D pennies are only worth a few cents to a few dollars depending on their condition. But within that massive mintage, there are some coins that are true standouts. These are coins that were struck perfectly, what collectors call mint state, with sharp details, brilliant red luster, and no signs of wear or handling. These pristine examples are rare because most of the coins from that time were used, tossed in drawers, or worn down over the years, and then there are the coins that come with a twist, the ones with minting errors. These aren't mistakes in a bad way, they're mistakes that actually increase a coin's value. We're talking about doubled die obverse, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, and more. These small quirks, invisible to most people, are a big deal to collectors. In fact, the more unusual and dramatic the error, the higher the value goes. Let's talk about grading for a moment, because condition is everything in the world of rare coins. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, and only the top few, the ones that score 66, 67, or even 68, are considered investment grade. For a coin from 1953 to reach that level, it must have been preserved perfectly, kept away from the elements, untouched by time. These are the coins that make collectors' jaws drop at auctions, and believe it or not, some 1953 D Lincoln wheat pennies have done just that, stunned audiences and broken expectations with what they've sold for. It's not just about age. It's about rarity, condition, and the story the coin tells. A coin that captures a moment in time, that has somehow survived for over 70 years in immaculate shape, becomes more than money. It becomes history you can hold in your hand. So what does all this mean for you? It means that if you happen to find a 1953 D penny in your collection, and especially if it's uncirculated, with bright red color and nowhere, you could be holding something incredibly valuable. And if you find one with a rare error or an exceptionally high grade, well, let's just say you're in for quite a surprise, because one such 1953 D Lincoln wheat penny, in nearly flawless condition and possessing extraordinary quality, has been known to sell for as much as $110,000. That's right. A single penny. Just 1 cent worth $110,000. It's incredible to think that something so small, so ordinary on the surface, could hold that kind of hidden potential. But that's the beauty of coin collecting, it's full of surprises, and sometimes the most amazing discoveries come from the most unexpected places. So go ahead, dig through those old coin jars, flip through that childhood coin book, and take a second look at the change in your pocket. You never know, your next big discovery might just be waiting for you in the form of a tiny copper coin with a D stamped underneath the date 1953. Top 5. We're talking about one of the last coins from a legendary era, the 1957 Lincoln wheat penny. And trust me, this is one coin story you don't want to miss. Now on the surface, the 1957 penny seems like a pretty common coin. After all, it was minted just 1 year before the iconic wheat penny design was retired in favor of the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959. Millions, actually, hundreds of millions of 1957 pennies were struck. But as always in the coin world, the devil is in the details. And with the right conditions, a tiny copper coin from this year could transform from spare change into a small fortune. Let's set the stage. America in 1957 was riding high on post-war prosperity. Rock and roll was shaking up the airwaves, Elvis Presley was becoming a household name, and families were driving shiny new Chevrolets to the drive-in theater. It was the era of poodle skirts, leather jackets, and jukeboxes. But even while cultural shifts were happening everywhere, some things remained constant, like the penny in your pocket, and that penny? It still bore the proud image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side. Designed by Victor David Brenner back in 1909, Lincoln's profile on the coin had become a symbol of trust and tradition. The words "In God We Trust" arc above his head, liberty rests to his left, and the date, 1957, is etched clearly to the right. Some of these coins bear a small D mint mark just beneath the date, indicating they were minted in Denver, while others came from the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark at all. And now, flip the coin over and you'll find the classic wheat reverse, two elegant wheat stalks curved around the phrases 1 cent and United States of America. At the top sits the timeless motto E pluribus unum, a Latin phrase meaning out of many, one. This design had graced the back of the Lincoln cent for nearly 50 years by that point, and 1957 would be one of the final times it was ever struck. With over 1 billion of these pennies minted that year, most 1957 wheat pennies today are worth just a few cents, maybe a few dollars if they're in nice condition. So what makes some of them worth a whole lot more? Well, it all comes down to two key factors: condition and rarity. Coins that were used in everyday transactions, passed from hand to hand, worn down in people's pockets, have lost much of their collector value. But every once in a while, a coin slips through the cracks. It avoids circulation. It stays in pristine, untouched condition, maybe tucked away in a bankroll, a mint set, or stored by someone who just had a feeling it might be worth keeping. These coins, with their bright red luster and razor-sharp details, are what collectors refer to as mint state. And then, there are the ones with something even rarer, mint errors. These can include doubled dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, or even a coin struck on the wrong planchet. What seems like a simple mistake is actually a treasure to coin collectors, who value these unique anomalies because they tell a story about how the coin was made and how it stands out from the millions of others. Let's talk about grading for a moment. Coin grading is a huge deal in the numismatic world. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC evaluate coins based on their strike quality, luster, surface preservation, and overall eye appeal. Grades are given on a scale from 1 to 70, and coins that hit 65 and above, especially 67, 68, or beyond, become stars in the collector's market. The higher the grade, the rarer the coin. And the rarer the coin, the higher the price. A 1957 penny graded in MS68 red, meaning it has full original color, zero wear, and nearly flawless surfaces, can send shockwaves through an auction. Especially if that coin has an additional mint error or is part of a rare variety. So now you're probably wondering, how high can the value actually go? Let me put it this way: that little copper coin sitting quietly in your change drawer or tucked inside a forgotten coin album could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Because one particularly rare and perfectly preserved 1957 Lincoln wheat penny, with exceptional condition and rare features, has sold for as much as $105,000. Yes, you heard that right. One penny. One single cent worth $105,000. That's the kind of number that makes you look at pocket change in a whole new light. And it's why so many collectors are passionate about wheat pennies. They're not just coins, they're history. They're art. And sometimes, they're hidden treasure. So if you've got a handful of old pennies, don't overlook the ones dated 1957. Check for that mint mark. Look for original red color. Examine them for strange features or signs of being different. And if you think you've found something special, consider having it graded, because you never know when a penny might be worth more than a pile of gold. If you enjoyed this video and want more deep dives into rare and valuable coins, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single discovery. We've got many more coin stories, collector tips, and value surprises coming your way. Thanks for watching, and remember, your next big find might already be in your pocket.